I'm Sister Bundy.
And I'm Sister Hislop.
And this is Give and Glow,
a podcast for missionaries by missionaries.
So today we wanted to talk about preparing to go on a mission. It was kind of a while ago for both of us when we were preparing to go, but we wanted to kind of talk about first how we were preparing to go spiritually, and then we'll talk about things like what we bought and what we wish we wouldn't have bought and stuff like that.
And also like tips for being a missionary.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some things that neither of us knew.
Yeah.
So yeah.
that we wish we would have known before we left.
Yes.
So let's just get on into it.
Okay. Here we go.
So, to prepare spiritually. That was loud. I don't how did you prepare spiritually, Sister Hislop?
Well, preparing spiritually, I wasn't the greatest at it, honestly.
Yeah, me neither.
But one thing that I do recommend, I have it right here. Preach my gospel. Yes. I love Preach My Gospel. It's amazing.
It is pretty cool. I think that it's a good thing to at least like give it a glance. You know, you don't have to go out and buy your own copy. It's on Gospel Library. But if you are preparing to go on a mission, Preach My Gospel is a great thing to study. Just because it basically it's like your manual for being a missionary, right? And it tells you everything to do. And so if you want to get a good idea of kind of what you're going to be doing on your mission, it's a good idea to read Preach My Gospel. And you don't have to read the whole thing because it's a big book.
It is a big book. But also, like, what I love about Preach My Gospel, this is the new edition that came out like a year or two ago. And at the title of it, like before it says Preach My Gospel, it says A Guide to Sharing the Gospel of Jesus Christ. And the old one said A Guide for Missionaries to Share the Gospel of Jesus Christ. And this one's just a guide. This is for everybody. This is for everyone to share the gospel.
It's not just for missionaries.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. But yeah, so I tried my hardest to read Preach My Gospel before I left, but there's a lot of big words and I got confused, honestly, because I don't know. I just didn't, I guess I wasn't in the right mindset before I was reading it.
Sense.
And it just kind of confused me, and so I was just like, oh, it's okay, I'll read it later. But I kind of wish that I would have studied it a little bit more. You will study it a lot in the MTC. Probably more in the MTC than you do in the field. But
I beg to differ. In the field, at least in my mission, we studied a lot.
Well, yeah, you study it a lot, but you study it more in depth and in detail in the MTC.
That's fair, I guess.
Okay. Anyways, so if you're preparing to go on a mission, we recommend that you take a look at Preach My Gospel.
Yeah, take a look at it. It's definitely, what's the word for it? I don't know. I'm trying to think of
helpful?
A word. Yes, definitely helpful. Another thing, like spiritually, going through the temple, it is. Man, my mind is blanking.
Going to the temple is probably one of the best ways to prepare for anything spiritually, in my mind.
Exactly.
I love the temple, and if you're planning on going on a mission, I got my endowments out like 6 months before I left, and I honestly, at the time, wasn't just getting my endowments out because I was going on a mission. I really wanted to make that covenant for myself, and I really encourage you guys to kind of have that same decision. A lot of people will just be like, oh, well, I'm going on a mission, so I have to go through the temple. But I really encourage you guys to go through the temple, because it is a very sacred experience. And yes, the first time you go through, you're going to be really confused.
It's kind of scary.
It's kind of scary, but the more you go, the more sacred of an experience it becomes.
Yes, and I went through the temple like 2 or 1 month before I left on my mission. I'm trying to think. But yeah, it was about 2 months before I left. But I wish I would have gone sooner. But the nice thing about being home and being a service missionary is I get to go to the temple a lot.
Yeah. How many times have you been to the temple this week?
This week, twice, I think. And then we're working at the temple later today. So
Yeah.
it'll be 3 times.
3 times in a week, which is a lot of fun because especially as like a proselyting missionary, you don't get to go to the temple that often. But as a
Mm,
service missionary, it is so awesome because we get to be in the temple like all the time.
so nice.
There's been some weeks where I've been at the temple like every day.
Yeah, it's kind of the best.
So,
In your mission, how many days how many days, what am I saying? How often did you get to go to the temple?
so we didn't have a temple in our mission, and so we got to go once a quarter.
Okay.
Um,
So like every other transfer?
yeah,
Okay.
just about. It was like the quarter of the month, so they like split the month into four, and then you could go once a quarter.
Okay.
But it was like if your companion hadn't gone to the temple that quarter, like you could go
Oh, okay.
again. And so I actually only got to go to the temple twice when I was in Ohio,
Okay.
and I was there for like 7.5 months. So
Okay. In my original mission, we got to go every other transfer, which was really nice. I got to go 3 times. Yeah. And I was there for 6 months. So kind of nice.
nice. Yeah. Did you have a temple in your mission though?
We only had one temple in our mission, but the temple that we went to was outside of our mission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we went to the Portland temple, and the Portland temple is not in the Oregon Eugene mission.
We went to the Columbus temple, and the Columbus temple is not in the Cincinnati mission. But there is a temple coming to the Cincinnati mission in a couple years. I mean,
Nice.
like, it's announced they are breaking ground soon, so
Yeah, well,
it's
in
exciting.
the Eugene mission in Springfield, where I serve, shout out to Springfield, they are getting a temple probably this year. Like, it is so close to being done. I keep seeing pictures of it, and it's so pretty.
It's so cool. I love
I
the
know.
temple.
And they have been putting like all of the plants and everything in, and it's so pretty.
That's so
I'm
fun.
so excited to go back and go to the temple.
Basically, go to the temple is what we're saying.
It's the best.
It's the best. And even after you get your endowments out, go back to the temple as often as you can. I know I going to do um like endowment and other things take a little bit longer than just going to do baptisms. Baptisms usually, like, depending on how busy the temple is, like takes like half an hour, right?
Hmm. Depends on how busy. If it's really busy, it takes like an hour.
But sometimes it takes like 15 minutes.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
like for me, I would go before I got my endowment out, I would go once a week to do baptisms, and every time it took me like less than half an hour. So that's why I said that.
Oh, okay.
And so like for me it was kind of hard to like make the time to go and take like a big chunk of my day to go to the temple once a week, but I tried my hardest because that's where I really felt the spirit. And my favoriteest place in the temple is the celestial room. And I that's where I got the confirmation that this is what I was supposed to be doing, and I just know that there's such a powerful spirit in the celestial room of any temple, and um I know that it can be scary, but I promise you that if you go to the temple as often as you can and you make it a priority in your life, even after you're home from your mission, it will really be a blessing to you.
It will. And you can definitely feel the spirit in the temple. Last week I was working and I was in initiatory, and there's this sweet lady, and she and I were just both crying because we could feel the spirit, and you could feel that person she was doing the work for, and they were accepting the gospel. And how cool is that?
That's so cool.
Um, one thing that I thought was kind of funny is when I first came home from my teaching mission, a lady in my ward said, well, guess what? Since you're working in the temple now, you're going to have 100% baptism rate. And I'm like, dang, that's cool.
That's so cool.
I know.
I never thought of it that way. That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. So, like, we are bringing people from both sides of the veil. And, like,
Mm-hmm.
how cool is that?
So cool.
So, make the temple a priority in your life. It's the
Yes.
best.
It will definitely be something that will help you prepare for your mission.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing is to read the Book of Mormon. Even if you don't make it all the way through, I think that um, knowing the Book of Mormon, and even if you are just familiar with the stories, like even if you're just watching the Book of Mormon videos, like just become familiar with the Book of Mormon, because that's what you're teaching, right? You're going out there teaching the gospel. And yes, you are using the Bible and even Doctrine and Covenants, but the Book of Mormon is the thing that sets our religion apart from others. And so that's what you're going to primarily be teaching from, because not a lot of people have heard of it, and it's the thing that sets us apart. And so um one thing that my mission president, when I was in the field, in the field we are in
We
the
are in
field
the field.
what am I talking about? One thing that my mission president back in Ohio really emphasized is, when we were teaching, was using restored truth. And so really become familiar with the things that are taught in the Book of Mormon, because that will definitely help you on your mission and for the rest of your life.
Yes, I love that. That's so cool. Another thing that I loved doing when I was in Oregon was like people be like, you Mormons, like you how do you worship Joseph Smith? How do you worship Mormon? And it's like, no. um, People forget about the other title of the Book of Mormon. So it says the Book of Mormon, and then right underneath it says another testament of Jesus Christ. And that's what we're teaching. That's what we're preaching about. We're teaching about Jesus Christ and how he came to the earth. And he came to the people in the Americas in 3rd Nephi. And he asked them to come and feel and come and see. And that's what we're doing as missionaries. We are inviting them, inviting our friends to come and see and come and feel the Spirit and come and feel the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
That's beautiful. I totally agree. And I think when you're preparing to go on your mission, if you really, really like think about that, about what you're getting yourself into, like it's an amazing thing. To see the joy of someone who is accepting the gospel is beautiful. And um it gets really hard. It is not easy. Serving a
It's
mission
not
is
easy.
literally probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And it's not going to be easy. But the Lord is here to help us, and we are teaching his gospel. And as long as you are relying on him, he will be with us every step of the way. And even though it's not easy, we have to remember that this is not about us. It is not about me. It's not about Sister Hislop. It's about the Lord's work. And it's about bringing other people to the gospel. And that is something that I really had to realize going into my mission, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going to go teach all these people and I'm going to convert them. But no, the Spirit teaches, the Spirit converts, and we are just merely vessels for the Spirit. And I think the moment you realize that it's not about you is the moment that it really sets in the impact of what you're doing as a missionary.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. One thing that I love of being a service missionary is when I first came home, our awesome SMEs, shout out to the Plowmans, we love you.
Love you.
Um, they told me this awesome quote that said, "The teaching missionaries are the Lord's voice, and the service missionaries are the Lord's hands." And so we are all playing a part in the Lord's work. So whether you are called to be a teaching missionary, whether you're called to be a service missionary, it's all the same. It's all the same because we are bringing his his children unto him. So cool.
It is so cool. I love that you brought up the difference between the service and the teaching missionaries because there really isn't a
Mm-mm.
difference. Um,
We're all set apart
we are
missionaries.
all set apart missionaries. One thing that was I thought was cool was when we came home, we weren't released
Released.
and then reset apart as service missionaries, which is
Mm-mm.
something that I thought was gonna happen, but no, we I was never released. I was never like been like switched to a
Mm-hmm.
service missionary, you know, like um and I thought that that was really cool. Like the only difference really is the word service missionary on my badge.
Yeah. And like we even get the opportunity in our mission to go teach with the sisters.
Yeah.
Like there's a awesome opportunity in our mission to be a TSM, a teaching service missionary. So like I know sisters who do their service sites in the day and have a companion and have an area and go teach in the evening time. Like
Yeah.
how cool is that?
It's so cool.
And so we have that opportunity.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I love about being a service missionary is that we are able to get the care that we both need and still be able to be a missionary. Um and I think that again like going back to like preparing to go on your mission, I think that really just remembering what you're doing and who you're doing it for is the most important thing, and to remember that it's not about yourself. You are not going to serve this mission.
It's not about you.
It's not, no. It's not about you. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's what my mission president in Oregon said. He's like, it's not about you. It's
Yeah.
not. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. I've had a companion who had to like put me in check. Because I was having a hard time, and I was like, I just feel like I can't do anything right. And she was like, sister, it's not about you. Like, come on. And so it's just, and I think that honestly, it kind of makes it sound negative, but honestly, I think it helps a lot because if you're like, oh, you're right, it's not about me. Like, it doesn't matter if I mess up, the Lord's work is still going to continue. One missionary, one stupid thing that I do is not going to mess up someone's conversion. And that was another thing that I struggled with on my mission was being scared that I was going to say the wrong thing and then they were going to hate the church forever and then like never come to know the truth. And so I think just again, remembering it's not all about you and it's about the Lord's work.
About the Lord's work. And this reminds me of a verse in the Book of Mormon, Mosiah 2:17. When ye are in the service of your fellow beings, you're only in the service of your God. So when you're going on a mission and you're going somewhere, you're going to like Fiji or going to the Utah Layton mission, you are serving others, but you're only in the service of your God. Like that's what you're doing. That's your purpose. Your purpose is bringing others unto Christ. So kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. And that's another thing that I love about the proselyting missionary purpose and the service missionary purpose. They're essentially the same.
Yeah.
They really, our purpose is to bring others to Jesus Christ. And that is
Boom.
your purpose.
Mic drop.
Boom. And really, that's while you're preparing for your mission, that is something that you should focus on. Is that you are going to be bringing people unto Jesus Christ, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And you're bringing yourself unto Christ because you are your biggest. You're your only convert. Like that's who you're. That's your main goal to convert yourself into Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit about you sometimes.
So it is a little bit about you. But even if you don't get any baptisms, as long as you have gained a stronger testimony of your Savior, that's what matters.